Hello, welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. It's me hosting, so I will apologise in advance. But at least you don't have to listen to me waffle on for like 40 minutes about the same old crap I normally do. But yeah, so tonight we're talking about like all things Arsenal for the last 2 weeks during the international break. And if we get time, probably the North London derby this weekend, away to that lot, if there's time. But anyway, I'll get on to the guests tonight because they're who you're going to be listening to most of the time. So I'm going, hang on, to my right, but my camera's flipped. So we've got Melvyn. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good evening. Thanks. Fine. I'm all right. Thank you.
Did you happen to watch any of the international friendlies the last 2 weeks?
No. I watched paint dry instead.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about internationals for 10 minutes.
We will, because I can pretend I watched it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't even know England had played 2 games, so that's how well I know international games. But there we go. And so also in the bottom right-hand corner, we've got Cactus Catch. Rich, how you doing, bud?
Not too bad, buddy. Not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Just like I was saying earlier, just getting over working like 12-hour shifts for a month. So how have you been? You still doing your coaching and stuff started up this year?
Yeah. I was at the club this evening, sorting out everything, making sure everything's ready for our first game tomorrow morning. Ealing Trailfinders versus Sporting Duet. Should be fun. Exhausting. Let the season begin. Can't wait.
Have they offered you a new 3-year contract? Everyone's dying to know.
Just a 1-year rolling one. I did sign a 10-year Todd Bowley-esque contract to begin with, so they've just upped it, give me an extra year. So I'm tied up for the next decade.
Oh, that's good to know. And obviously someone who's pretty much always here all the time, because if he's not, we're not recording because he has all the buttons on his computer. It's Danny. How you doing, bud?
I had the shits.
Oh.
That's why we're late. It was meant to be an 8 o'clock show, but I'm on that new wonderful medication. And although it's working, look, full jazz hands. Couldn't have done that a year ago. So, thank you very much to the NHS. And, so I woke up. I went to sleep about 7:30 a.m., Nick. I was watching some bloke in who drives around LA, a video of it. And I thought, oh, God, 7:30, that's pretty good. I'll be up by about 3, 4. I woke up at 6:45 p.m. That's my life now. I'm knackered.
Oh. So other than being on the toilet all the time, is that how your new carnivore diet's going? Is that what causing it?
Carnivore diet is wonderful. I had to sold something on eBay. I had to I hate eggs. I hate the concept of eggs. I have an irrational fear of eggshell. I can't touch eggs, but eggs are such a major part of being on a carnivore diet. I had to get Sean's mum to come around today, and I've got little containers, crack 3 eggs and put them in 3 different containers, and then I just microwave them to within an inch of their life and then eat it like a Frisbee, but the protein's there. So, yeah, it's going really well. How's things with you? I haven't seen you for a while.
No, I've just been, like I said, really busy at work, and then went on holiday, and then I caught COVID, which I thought was 4 years ago, but I caught it again now. But this was the throwing up constantly for 3 days COVID, which I didn't know was a thing. But, just like me in the rest of life, I'm very slow to the party. I'm very, right behind, so I get COVID 4 years later than everybody else. So I'm waiting for my own personal lockdown, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not.
Don't call it a lockdown.
Oh, what do we call it?
Oh, it's just an LL Cool J song that never took off. Don't call it a lockdown. I ain't ever been gone.
I thought that was called Don't Call It a Comeback.
That's it. I've changed the words.
Okay, so I mean, you should do that to the Fatboy Slim song. If you change a couple of words, and maybe they won't copyright you every week.
You know how to hurt me, don't you, Nick?
Anyway,
congratulations on hosting your first ever show. You asked, and I replied with 3 letters. YES. Because if people don't know, Nick has been doing his own Twitch channel for the last 200 years. Mainly it's him doing an 8-hour show to about 10, 15 people. So more than we'll get here tonight. And so he's perfectly adept at coasting. And Nick and Richard hasn't got a camera because he's naked.
Yes, very extremely naked.
Yes, I'll get on with it then before people leave.
I'll go on it. Well, I was going to say, if you want to say hello to the chat, if there is anyone in the YouTube chat.
Rudy Rastos, as always, you're there. Hello, evening Gooner family. Lovely to see you. Phil Macker. Did you find out who was shitting in your garden, and was it him?
It could have been him shitting in my garden. I mean, I got a Ring camera, and it looks like a dog, but I think it could have been Phil in disguise as a dog. He looks like a Dalmatian. He
says, I thought I was late, but it's ABW, so I'm early. Yes, indeed. Rudy says, Danny is not ready like Martin Odegaard. Good God. It was like I'd swallowed a hand grenade. Brady's Banana, good evening, gentlemen. Hantumi, hello, everyone. Phil Mackers, out of magic, you appear. Okay. Rudy says, all the experts are on now. And then Phil says, evening, ladies. Nice, no change there, Danny. Nick getting COVID, very retro. Poor Melvyn putting up with this shit. Sean's mum had COVID again this year. She got it coming back from a wedding in Ireland 2 years running. So there we go. Also, a little announcement. We're not doing the post-game or the preview shows anymore because I'm getting fed up of spending 2 hours of my time after each show editing, uploading, downloading, uploading, editing. And then YouTube keeps mugging us off and going, no, we're banning that video. Like, banned the last one, which is why you can't find the Brighton one because they banned it because we showed a little bit too much videos. And so I just thought, I'm fed up of doing it. It ruins my day. And it's not like the old days where we'd have 1,500 people watching. Now we have 5, 2 of which are lost, 2 are disgruntled, and 1 of them's Arteta out, so we gave up. So it might come back one day. You might see me and Deke doing it again, or me and Stan doing it again one day, but not for the foreseeable future. There you go, Nick. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, if we beat like Tottenham 6-0 and Man City 5-0, then you'll definitely bring it back because everyone in the WhatsApp group will come back on.
Oh, they will.
Even Ellis.
It's also said that whenever I say anybody free, like Deke was ill, anyone free, not a single fucking reply.
I messaged you after you did the show.
What did you say?
I said I was free, but I didn't see the message until after you'd finished the show. And about 7 or 8 times you called Declan Rice Ben Wright.
A few people pointed that out in the comments. It's good to see that I get people mixed up every now and then with no malice intended.
Well,
size there.
You were doing everything, talking, producing the show, pressing all the buttons. So what was to be expected?
I know.
But I'm
got carried away.
But are we still on Facebook? And did you say Twitter's been kicked off and they were back on Facebook?
Elon, Lord Elon, saviour of the human race, has decided that unless you pay £10 a month for the blue tick, you're not allowed to stream live on Twitter. Now, Carl does a magnificent job with some wonderful tweets, but since the underground got hacked, he's been a busy man, chasing people around with sticks, and so I'm not paying £10 a month to stream it on there. So we're back on Twitch, which for me and Nick is probably one of the best platforms for social media that there is. So every cloud has a golden lining, Nick.
Yeah, so obviously anyone who's listening to this, go back and give it all the thumbs up, subscribe with your Twitch Prime if you got it. And what do we do on Facebook? Is it a poke or is that 10 years out of date, a Facebook poke?
Absolutely not. The amount of everybody at ABW, between the two groups, there's probably 15 of us. Every single one of them has got Amazon Prime. Every single one of them could make sure that we get £1 a month from that. Do any of them do it? Do they fuck? There you go, Nick. The levels of apathy from within the inner walls of ABW shining like the northern star of shite.
The apathy is very strong within us.
Oh, fucking hell. That was nice of you to say something. Oh,
Apologies.
Hente is there. It's it's almost 11 p.m. here in Finland, and I'm not drinking, so I need to catch up tomorrow. Oh, there we go. There you go. It's international viewers for you.
Excellent. All right, we're 9.5 minutes in, Dan. Do you think we should maybe talk about some football? Because I think Melvin's getting upset and he wants to talk about something. So maybe I should ask him a question. I think I'll ask him the first question. It's the best. But yeah, so I suppose the first bit of news really is Arteta signed a new 3-year contract to 2027, not a 18-year contract that they offer at Chelsea. So, and obviously his press conference, I'm just going to read what he said about his new contract and then go to you. So he put, the emotional attachment I have, that my family has, my kids have to Arsenal, as well as The experience that I have, and at the moment I'm sharing with people, is too strong, said the 42-year-old. We're going in the right direction. We have made some huge steps forward, and we have a lot still to make. Due to the hunger from the ownership to the board and the players and the staff here, this is the aim, the objective, to win the Premier League. So, Melvyn, what do you think about Arteta's new contract?
As expected, really. Didn't expect a 1-year contract, didn't expect the 6-year contract. It's about, if you would have said to me, what's he going to get? I'd say around about 3 years. Expecting him to sign it. I can't see there's a pull anywhere else at the moment where he'd rather be, but that could all change, obviously, with a couple of, with a run, a horrible run. Please, if we don't get it. No, it's right. It just fits. Everything fits quite nicely at the moment. So there was no reason for him not to sign it, and no reason for the club not to offer it to him. So I just think it was the obvious thing to happen. Not shocked at all.
Yeah, Rich, probably same question to you, mate. Do you think it's good that they've got it done? Because I remember Klopp last year, they didn't announce he was leaving until the new year, and it was just like every week asking him, because I think Arteta was down to the last year officially. So is it best to just get it out of the way now?
Yeah, I think so. I think also it was very apt in the sense of, I think it was smart to put out the announcement now before these horrible 3 run of games where all our players are injured and, the Walking Dead kind of thing, just in case it all turns ugly and then they've got to make the announcement. But as I think it's a fantastic thing. It stops all the questions and the wonderings in press conferences and stuff like that. And you can only see the improvements that we've been making, Arteta. It ties him down to us for a little bit more. So if there are other clubs, say like your Man Cities, if they don't get relegated after Monday, or Barcelona or something, it come calling in the future, at least we're a little bit more protected with Arteta. But he seems to have like a really special bond with this club, and we're moving in a fantastic direction, really. Let's say ever since that seemingly that Boxing Day Smith Rowe emergence thing with those grass shoots, and we've been on an upward incline, every single season, every single month. So long may it continue. I say I'm extremely happy about it, and I'm happy about the timing of that, because, like I said, I think should things go tits up on Sunday, considering how many players we got missing. And I think then they did the announcement, I think there would have been a bit more vitriol and a bit more hate videos, like them people are like click hating. I think that's what they call it, or hate harvesting and things like that. So it just gets that out of the way, I guess. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with it.
Yeah, Danny, what do you think? Because I mean, I had a quick look on Twitter.
Oh dear.
Like earlier, which is terrible. And all I did, a lot of it was, one FA Cup in 5 years. He should have been sacked 3 years ago, and blah 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 blah. What's your take on it?
If anybody thinks any other manager would have won more than Arteta has done in these last few years of Man City cheating, then they're off their fucking trolley. No one would win anything. We've seen that Klopp, who is one of the greatest football managers in the world, lovely man, great tactics, beautiful football, a front three to die for, some wonderful defenders and goalkeepers. If in his entire time he lost one game in a season, which they were robbed of, they were the most entertaining team for the most of the time that he was there. And if that team, with more money, better players, better manager, more experience, if they can't beat Man City, then how the fuck is Arteta meant to do it when he's barely out of nappies as a manager? And anyone, and we're friends with people that go, oh, Arteta. I guarantee you that if Arteta was out, half of the decent players we've got would leave. Whoever would come in would go, oh, well, I don't want these ones. I want a new lot. Then it's going to be another 3-year scheme. And by then, if Man City do get the stuff taken away from them, which they won't, but if on the very rare chance that Man City were chucked into the Conference South then in that 3 years that our new manager would take to make the team his own, Chelsea, Newcastle, Liverpool, maybe even Man United would then be so far ahead of us in that time. They'll be the ones winning stuff and we won't be able to catch up again. We are just sitting there playing catch up until something happens with the whole Man City, whether them getting done, whether it's Pep leaving. And as soon as Pep leaves, Haaland is already looking like he might want to go and play in Spain. De Bruyne looks like he might want to go. He might even be quitting playing international football. Half of that team are only there because of Pep and the amount of money they're getting. And that's why they're on about tapping up Arteta to come there and be manager. If the best funded team on the planet are rumoured to be going after Arteta, there's a reason for that. And that reason is because he plays beautiful football. He's a lovely bloke. He knows what he's doing. And I'm delighted that we've got him to a three-year contract. Hopefully he'll see that out. And we've shown him loyalty. We've given him what he wanted. And hopefully he'll see that. And then in 2 years' time, he'll sign another 3-year contract. And 2 years after that, he'll sign another 3-year contract. Because it's to do what he's done and to be in the position that we are in now is something that the day that Freddie Ljungberg was appointed as caretaker manager, if you'd have said we'd be where we are now with these world-class players, I'd have gone, oh, shut up. The end is nigh. It's all going to fall apart. So I'm delighted, Nick. How do you feel?
Sorry, Danny, can I just come in on that and just literally completely agree with what you're saying? You look at where we were when he took over us, the absolute mess with Ivan and Sven and what's that? The other geezer, the Spanish guy who was at Barcelona. But yeah, those three guys and where we were and what teams, that the amount of money that Man United have spent, that Chelsea have spent, and they can't even get back. He's done a fantastic job. So, mate, Danny, you are absolutely bang on with what you're saying, mate.
Thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
I'd just like to add to that. I remember Man City played us about a week or two before he took over. He was on the bench at Man City, Arteta. And after about 10 minutes, game was over. It was embarrassing. It was like two teams from different planets. And again, going forward 4 or 5 years, you just said we are where we are now. You'd have gone, don't be silly. Do not be silly. It's not Doctor Who, this. It's a game of football. No way these two teams are going to be on the same planet or anything, on the same league. But we are a fraction behind them. They are still better than us. Let's be fair. But we are a fraction behind us. We are a fraction behind them, sorry. And it's just mind-blowing. I think we've become... I have to a degree, a bit of a snob really, because I'm thinking, we've got there, then it can't be that much to push it from where we are to a bit more. The last push is always the hardest sometimes, especially when you're trying to win the league. It's the last bit, and we're not quite there yet, but we're very, very close. And with a bit of luck, we will do it. But at the moment, it doesn't look like we're going to get any luck with injuries and the refs and bits and bobs. So no, I've complained about Arteta making mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Doesn't mean I'm not happy with him. I'm very happy with him.
That's why I got so annoyed with like the narrative about when we went to the Etihad last season and allegedly played for a draw and stuff like that. When you go back to, like you said, that game at the Etihad, I think 3-4 years ago, where they were like 4-5-0 up at like half time. Xhaka got sent off. That's where we were starting from. That's how bad we were back in them days. So yeah, just sometimes we get frustrating, but hopefully injuries begetting, we can topple them this year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm happy he's signed, mainly because we're not going to get no grief of people constantly asking him and that. And plus, I can't believe he's still only 42. That doesn't seem right. I thought he was 40 when he signed for us, but I think he was like 36, 37. And he's coming up to 5 years. And I mean, I've said it on air before, I'd love to win the league and win trophies, but all I want the manager and the club to do is, I know it sounds a bit sort of soft, but just do their best with what they've got and be competitive. And he's made us competitive. You know, when he took over, we were competing with teams getting relegated. You know, that's how good we were. And like I say, before we're Man City, when we'd look at the Man City games, we'd be like, oh, how many goals are they going to score against us this time? And how many players are we going to get sent off? Whereas now we're like, well, how many points are we going to take off them this year? You know, we'd probably beat them at home. You know, you'd fancy us with a draw away, and let's say we're competitive. So,
Nick, it was so different because we had players in our team that it was embarrassing because they probably wouldn't have gotten a few teams that got relegated. They were so bad, and yet they were wearing the Arsenal shirt. It was really, really the dross of players we had. We knew they weren't any good, and it was like, what are we doing? And we spent a lot of money, don't forget. The people at the top spent badly. It was like, shut your eyes and there's no other bidders, so we give the top. What are you talking about? And we're buying these players that no one's ever heard of, and we realise why no one's ever heard of them, because they're absolutely useless on big wages.
I think you're right, Merv. That's why so many... where so many players like ran their contracts down because nobody else wanted them, and we'd put them on huge wages.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's just, and I know a lot of people said it years ago, and that became a bit of a piss take online. But it's like we have got our Arsenal back now, whereas before it was Gazidis and Wenger's just money making Arsenal that didn't really have any ambition and care where we finished because we were making money. Whereas now it's, especially since the Americans have took over, they've backed the manager, they've let him buy the players he wants, even though we're up to about 30 goalkeepers in 3 seasons. But he has done well, and they've backed him. And a lot of other clubs in the league should look at what we've done and given a young manager 5 years, where I don't think anyone else does that in the league anymore, and that's why they struggle so much. But I suppose we have to move on and we'll talk, because we've said it 2 or 3 times, like injuries. So that's started again. So, yeah, Wenger. See, that's how bad I am. Arteta on Odegaard. And, yeah, so what he said today, we need some more tests, so let's see what happens in the next day or so. This afternoon, probably, and see what happens with the extent of the injury and how quickly we can get him back. Within 48 hours of the game, players could always become available. Let's see what happens. So, Rich, what do you think on, obviously, the first one, Odegaard's injury? Do you think there's a chance he's going to play? Or do you think this is just to try and mind games?
Not a Scooby. Not a Scooby. Do you see the footage of his ankle, like, twisting? Yeah, especially if it's a high ankle sprain, they take ages to heal and stuff like that and be right. He's always been very guarded and coy about injuries and stuff like that, hasn't he? He's never, even though it's like the worst poker move in the world, because everybody knows that he's going to be out for I'd be very surprised if we see him again in September.
But don't some people, when they're still young, have the ability to do stuff like that and then they'll be fine? It's not like it's me or you or Melvyn that have done it, where we'd be in a cast for 6 months. Isn't it a case of that, or am I just being hopeful?
I think maybe you're being a bit hopeful. It's such a horrible injury, a sprain. I know it sounds really like mincing, a bit soft, but it's really not. And it's especially a high ankle sprain takes ages to recover from. I'd be shocked. I'd be absolutely astounded if he played on Sunday. I don't think we're going to see him for the month of September, unfortunately, which is such a shame, because he's so pivotal, and for the most part in his career he's been pretty bomb-proof. So it's so unfortunate that in these running 3 games that are so vital back to back that we haven't got him, and that it happened to be in the summer that we moved on Smith Rowe, that we moved on Vieira, and also at the same time Declan's got his Marino's injured, and all we've got at the minute is either putting a round peg into a square hole by playing, I don't know, something like Havertz or Sterling in there or something like that, or a 16-year-old academy kid, which is a shocker. But yeah, I'd be absolutely astounded. I know what you mean, Danny. Like saying, the youth for today, they can withstand a lot. It's not like I say you and I going out there and getting injured, but yeah, I can't. I don't know about you guys. If you guys are a bit more hopeful than me, but I can't see it. I really can't.
I don't want him to play. Be honest with you. I know players normally play at the top level, probably 85%, 90% fit most of the time, but he is not going to be 85% fit, is he? Come on, after that, he's got to be 75, 70, 75, if that. I don't want that. We can't afford to have a player not fit playing just because of his name. He's a great player, don't get me wrong. I love him to play, but we can't have someone that's a great player that's not fit. We're not in that situation. We've got a squad that can handle it. We've got Sterling, remember. He might, I know he won't do it, but I'd stick Sterling on the right wing and play Saka in that whole position. So I think Saka can do a job there for a game or two. I really do. You can put even Sterling there. There's loads of ways you can do it. You can give the 17-year-old a chance. I mean, sometimes with the big clubs, and we are a big club, age doesn't matter. We haven't got 4 or 5 youngsters in the team now, 17. Like Liverpool did, I think, at the end of the year, didn't they? When they were struggling, and they did all right. It's one player. I know it's a big game away to Spurs, and it's always a big game whether we're top, middle, or bottom. The same with them. But sometimes you can tell he's got the top. He seems to have the nothing seems to faze him. It seems. I've heard people talk about him, his teachers, and all that. Nothing seems to faze him, and he's that. If it would be another reserve coming in, a 17-year-old, I'd go, well, a bit worried. I would have no worries at all. I don't think he will do it because he's got other players. He's got players in front of him. As I said, you've got Sterling, you can move Martinelli around a bit, or Trossard or whatever. But I don't think it's as bad as people think. I mean, you got Jorginho to come back. And I'd play him instead of Partey, actually. I'm a bit worried about Partey this game. More about anything else. I just think he's been giving the ball away too much.
I think. Sorry, Melvyn, to just come in. I think that's the problem, though, is the fact that injury to Odegaard. If Partey, if Rice was there or Marino was there, and you just had to drop in Nwaneri into that Odegaard slot or put someone, but because you've got so many other injuries in that same minute, I think that's the bit that's making me worried.
That's probably true, yeah. But I don't want him to take Havertz out the top because Havertz is not as effective as a midfielder as up front. So I wouldn't like to see that. And Jesus, they reckon's fit as well. They say fit. He hasn't been fit for ages, has he? Really, the way he's been playing the last year or 18 months. But you've got him to bring on. Not bring on to start. He could slot in somewhere as well. So it's not great, but it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with most of that, especially Melvyn, where you're saying, play the young boy or move Saka, just something different. They probably planned for Odegaard to definitely play, especially because he's the captain. So now we could, turn a negative into a positive, play it slightly different, a slightly different player. And then we could catch them out, and if they're not expecting it, we could be 2-3-0 up in half an hour because they can't plan for what we don't know we're going to do, can they?
Do you think, just in my mind, I was thinking about Saka with Sterling on the outside of him. I think that could be so dangerous going forward. So dangerous.
I think we've got more options than people think we could do. Like I say, we could bring him through. We could, Sterling. I think he's played at number 10 at times for Liverpool and Man City, I think. So I think there is definitely an option. I mean, if Odegaard was going to be out all season, then I'd be worried. But I think it's more than likely 2-3 weeks. I think seeing him on crutches the day after. So I think we've all done this where we've sort of stunned our ankle, and we're like, oh my God, my ankle's definitely broken. I'm never walking again. It's getting amputated. And then in 2-3 minutes, when you literally walk it off, you're like, oh yeah, it's fine. My ankle hasn't got to come off. So, but yeah, seeing him on crutches the next day, that makes me think it's going to be a month at least. And I mean, you never know, but like you said, I wouldn't risk him if he's not 100%, because if he starts, people are going to go, "Oh, that's great," and you know what's going to happen in a North London derby? They're going to go straight for it and kick him straight in that ankle for the rest of the game, aren't they? So it's not worth the risk for one of these games, you know. But okay, on to injured player number 2 on international. Was it Riccardo Calafiori? He said, "It's another one that we need to wait for another day or so," said Arteta. So, Danny, why do our players keep getting injured on international duty?
I think you'd have to answer that. I'd want to go around and see every single international game that was involved in the qualifiers and the ones who played friendlies, and add up how many players got injured and go, well, there you go. As a percentage wise, are we really that unlucky when it comes to players getting injured? Because we've having 2 of them doing it, and plus we already had another 1 or 2 that are out before that. I can't believe that it's just us that the ones that are getting the injuries. It feels like it. But there again, how much notice do you take of other teams? Didn't Rodri get injured for Man City playing in before the season started playing international football? Was it? I think it might have been a friendly, or whichever way it was. I don't keep track. You know, like you say, I am the only one who gets bad luck. Well, how often do we ask other people about how much bad luck you've had? I mean, how many? I've never asked you how many times you've made yourself some Marmite on toast, dropped it, and it's landed face down. We're only really concerned with our own team and our own players. That's all we keep an eye out for. So I don't know. I've got nothing to compare it to. It's annoying. It seems to be happening far too often. But other than that, I don't know really how to quantify it in the terms that you could balance it against other sides. It's not, but it's missing.
One way, Danny, how many Spurs players are missing because of international duty?
They're all shit and they don't play for their countries, Mel.
Well, some of them do.
Yeah, no, they do. I'm just being horrible to them because I don't like them. I don't know. I don't know which one of their players. The only one I know is Son, South Korea. And they got the greatest centre-back that's ever lived, that Van der Ven bloke, apparently. The greatest footballer that's ever lived, according to people in the know at the moment. But it's not something I take any. I don't really give a damn about other teams, so I don't know how they're getting on.
All right.
It is annoying though that one of the most important games for me, the most important game of the season, Spurs away. Second most important. I mean, Spurs at home, then Spurs away. That's it. As long as we don't lose either of those 2. And I got a little thing, Nick, when we come to talking about that game, talking about the showing the number of previous results. Let me know when you want that, when we're talking about it, because we should cover it, I suppose.
I suppose that's one of those things, I remember years ago, I think it was, I can't remember which England manager it was, where they were laughing, saying, "Oh, Sir Alex phoned me and he asked me to only play him in one game or bring him off at half-time." And I was like, don't say that. I mean, we all knew it was happening, but to admit it, it's kind of annoying. I don't know if it's true, so like I said, I didn't watch the England games, but apparently Saka and Rice both played the full 90 minutes, like the full game in both tournaments or both friendlies. And I think, well, I'm pretty sure, Ronaldo, when he played for Portugal, played like every minute of all the games. So I think you're right. I think we always notice when stuff go against us, but we forget when stuff goes for us. So it's that type of thing. But yeah,
I think the question should be, Nick, why the hell have they brought in someone and lots of numbers pointed UEFA? Why have they brought it in? But then I think if they didn't bring it in, then the clubs and the international sides just have friendlies anyway, because at Wembley they like to make a lot of money of that. And the next international break is only a month away, Nick. Looking forward to that. But it's pointless.
I think that league thing, even though it's technically a friendly league, it's trying to get people to watch the friendly games again. Because as far as I've been told, numbers are really down on viewership. Money's not as big as it used to be until you get to the Euros. Well, yeah, because I don't watch any of the friendlies, but when I get the tournament, I go all in on it and I enjoy the tournament. Whereas I know a lot of people are like that. So I suppose that's their way of trying to get people more, interested in the friendlies. I don't know if it's working. But
I'm not interested in your international football.
Did you used to be, Melvyn? No. Did you?
I'll tell you what I used to be years ago. I used to love, at the end of the season, there used to be a home international.
Oh, the Home Nations.
Home Nations, sorry.
Yes.
That was brilliant, wasn't it, Danny?
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
To batter Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland.
It was great. It was absolutely great.
I'd enjoy that. That'd be a good thing.
It was really good, Nick. Honestly, it was really good.
It does sound familiar, but I don't think,
But I think the question is, how much longer are Premier League clubs going to put up with this endless international breaks? You start at the start of the season, they go, you've played 3 games, international break. Why? We're at the most important part of the season. Everyone's getting an international break, 2 games, and then we play another 3 or 4 games, another international break. How about this for a crazy idea? You get rid of the Euro Nations League, and then the I don't even know what they're bloody called. The one that we've just had in the summer, that one is invitation only, and then the World Cup, invitation only. No more fucking qualifiers. We all know who's going to get there. If you want to have it's 32 teams, you have the best 28 teams in the world and invite 4 others that aren't in the top 28. There you go. That'll do.
Here we are. I do come up with some stupid things, I admit, Danny, but this is in about when we're all, in a illigan year's time, I bet you the way things are going with the World Cup, not only will there be 50 teams, 50 nations, each nation will be able to put 2 teams in. That's how greedy these people are.
Yeah. You were laughing at me, Rich.
Just slightly, because you say that invite the best teams in. Well, how are you going to quantify and know who are those best teams? You need to play some sort of qualifiers. I think all these qualifiers and all these Europa League things. So the Europa League is a byproduct of replacing meaningless friendlies that no one gave a crap about. And I do think it's too many, but unlike maybe started becoming to the minority, I actually like international football. That's how I actually got into football when I was a youngster, with the Summer World Cup tournaments and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily mind it per se. I quite enjoy it. I like seeing the Arsenal lads representing their countries, and I'll actually that's the only reason I actually saw the Odegaard thing, because I was actually interested in watching the Arsenal lads represent their country, kind of thing. But I do get what you mean. There's too many breaks, and it's all to try and tie up money, because pretty much most of the interest now has all gone to the Champions League.
I think for the
go on, man.
For the European Championships, I don't think there should be invitation. I think that they should do it on the Eurovision Song Contest. All the teams should sing a song and do it that way. Then it's fairer than just invitation only, I think.
Or just ban all of it. Just have a World Cup. That's it. Fuck the rest.
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please.
Have a World Cup every 2 years.
So it only really irritates me, especially when it's like they take all the players away from, because it's an honour to play for your country, but the clubs are still paying their wages. So if they get injured for 6 months or whatever, that England doesn't pay any of their wages and things. So they're making all this money on whatever their sponsorship tournament money and all that stuff. And as far as I'm aware, they don't actually pay the clubs or the players anything. I heard apparently they pay them a very small, tiny amount that they have to, and I think all the players give it away to charity. I think that's right.
Used to be the way, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they're still.
They do. They give it to charity.
Yeah, I mean, obviously playing for your club does actually finance the players a bit, because they would get, maybe more sponsorship deals if they play for England. Like maybe Adidas would give Saka more for playing for England, like a 10% more bonus or something like that.
It would not only that, Nick. Well, I mean, you think about it. A young player, say 22, 23, like the Crystal Palace centre-half who played for England recently, he can get, if he goes now, he will get so much more money now than he is at Palace, because he played for England. He's out there. Everyone, all of a sudden, is the best centre-half next to obviously the best Spurs centre-half. But he's up there with the likes of all the other internationals. And instead of him getting, I don't know, he's probably getting something like 50 or was he getting 100 grand a week at Palace, 60 grand? I don't know.
Never that much.
Is that then?
Yes.
Guy,
the one who played centre half. He could go somewhere now for 200 grand, can't he? Who was after him? Newcastle? What were they gonna
Apparently,
pay?
the Crystal Palace were fucking Newcastle around, and they kept stalling, and then the owner of Crystal Palace came out and said we had no intentions of selling them to them. We were just winding them up, something along those lines.
Well, that's a very strange game to play, isn't it? In case it goes the other way one day, you suddenly want to play it from them. Very dangerous game to play.
But there's got to be some point when the owners of the, like you were saying, Nick, the owners of the Premier League clubs are going to go, we've had far too many players injured. Far too many players are missing games in important parts of the season where we're playing week in, week out, and then you put an international break twice. And like Rudy says, another break awaits in October. They're not necessary. You've invented a competition that no one wants, like the World Club Championship thing that they've just invented. That's another load of bullshit, just based around money. There's too much of this stuff, and eventually someone is going to have to go, well, why are we doing this? Why are we playing people £200,000 a week, like you said, Nick, and then you're taking them, damaging them, and giving them back? It's bullshit. The whole fucking thing is rubbish. They keep bringing more and more of it. Hate it.
They come back damaged goods, don't they?
Yeah, they
What's
do.
the point of that?
Here you go. Bukayo Saka comes back on the England bus. He's got his ankles in the carrier bag. Good luck. Thank you very much. We'll have him back in a month.
Yeah, get him fit for the next tournament, please.
Yeah. Go fuck yourselves. Arseholes.
I think we got our point across quite nicely. All right. Okay. Injured player number 3, Gabriel Jesus. So Arteta said Gabby was out there basically training today. He's got another session tomorrow, and everything goes well, he'll be with us. So, Rich. So, what do you think we do about Jesus? You think he's been injured a lot for us since we've signed him. So, how do you think it's going for him so far?
Right. It's the only thing that I can think maybe, I think had we not had the injuries that we had, I think he would have possibly started on the bench. He still might start on the bench. The only thing, the caveat that I kind of have with it is I think that because he was injured for a spell and they probably could have brought him back earlier. Like say if there was a game last weekend, they probably could have put him into that fixture maybe. So if he's had a little, because of this international break, he's had a little bit longer time to get back into some sort of fitness. But I mean, that's a big game for him to come back, back storming into the team in the North London derby, because it's a bit of a shame because he looked like he had a little bit of glint in his eye. Like he looked leaner, he looked more pumped up for it. I think he realised that he had an absolute waste of a season last season with the amount of injuries and the severity of the injuries that he had. So, and it looked like he was, going to look to hit the ground running and really, really like a bit like when we first signed him, and he transformed the team, and everything was wonderful and everything was, fantastic, and he was scoring goals, setting up goals, harrying down players. And I thought from just by the look and the demeanour of him, I thought we were going to get back to that version of Jesus. But unfortunately, like I say, that injury record with him, he can't seem to, a bit like Tomiyasu, just can't seem to stay fit. It's just such a shame. There's a bit of me that I would love for him to make an impact on Sunday. I'd be over the moon for it, but I think it might be a game too early for him. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm hoping that he's had that little extra time with the Arsenal physio team, with the Arsenal training squad, and he's a lot closer than Arteta would have you believe. As I said before, Arteta in these press conferences about injuries and that, he likes to be a bit coy. He doesn't really give too much information away. So I'm hoping that he's doing a little bit of poker face, and Jesus was a little bit further along in his recovery than Arteta was letting on. I don't know about what you guys think.
Does anyone else want to jump in on Jesus, or is it the same as last year?
I don't care if it's a big game. Jesus has got the mentality to just do it, isn't it? No matter if he is 100% fit. He's at some stage he's a bit like Martinelli, isn't he? They're both underperforming the last, I suppose, 12 months, and then either of them need a spark, and they get right on it again. And when they get on it, we're a different team. So I don't. If he plays him, I've got every confidence in him. Arteta, if he plays him, most certainly, he's got something about him, the way he plays, and he ain't far off now. He has, as I say, a little bit of luck, a little bit of confidence in he'll be flying, and he'll be like he was before, unstoppable when he first joined us. He can get back there again, hopefully.
He just needs 6 months of injury free, doesn't he? He keeps stop, start.
Yeah.
And same with Martinelli. He's had a few niggly ones and about 17 different left backs playing with him every season. That doesn't help the poor lad, does it?
No.
Danny, do you got any opinion on Jesus?
It's just driving me nuts. I'm just looking now for his injuries, because sometimes you have them on stats, injury history. See how much of this is going to bring up. There we go. I'm going to come and share this screen with you wonderful people. Present and share screen. Make sure I get the right one, because there we go. Lovely jubbly. I'll make this a little bit bigger. This is his injury history, and that's just page 1. There's another page of Man City, but groin injury, knee injury, hamstring injury, knee injury. That's just at Arsenal. And then Corona at Man City, knock, ill, hamstring, knock, groin strain, torn ligaments. And on page 2, fracture of the eye socket. I mean, at least it's something different. Metatarsal fracture, Nick. Oh, God, now the page has disappeared.
That's a lot of injuries. And was he 27?
Yeah.
28?
He's not old.
I just worry or wonder, because he was such a bit part player under Man City with Aguero, obviously, starting ahead of him, that when we bought him and just somehow expected him to go from being that bit part player, always coming on or always going off and getting dropped a lot, to get him to play 90 minutes week in, week out, just pushed him too hard. Maybe his body wasn't conditioned to do that because it hadn't done it for so many years at City.
Yeah, I remember when he signed for Man City, we thought, it's the new Brazilian wonder kid. And then it was that after a while, you think, well, he's not playing the same position every week. And then he become a utility player. And now at the moment, he's just the Brazilian Perry Groves, just playing wherever we need him and constantly out injured, just without the lovely mop of hair. And a wonderful book. If anyone wants a good Arsenal book to read, go and buy the Perry Groves one. Walking in a Grove Perry Wonderland.
Yeah, good book. I've got that. Good book. Yeah.
It's one of the few I've actually read, because I can't read anymore because my eyes just wobble about when I'm trying to read like some kind of.
You know what I never realised, Danny? I didn't realise until a few years ago, when he was playing for the Arsenal, quite a bit of time after that, he was an Arsenal supporter. I didn't realise.
Yeah, because his granddad played, didn't he? His granddad or his uncle.
No, he's not Groves. Uncle. Vic Groves, isn't it? Vic Groves.
Yeah,
Vic Groves.
Yeah, you read the book. It's quite sad. It's amazing how well he did coming through. But no one really expected him, and we bought 2 players from Colchester in consecutive season, Ian Allinson and then
That's
him.
Right.
I doubt very much we'll ever buy a Colchester player ever again. But it's a wonderful book, one of my favourite ones. He puts his entire heart and soul into it.
Yeah, I think he's very good on the media as well. I don't think we hear or see enough of him. I think he's
we had him on the pod once back in the day when people gave a fuck and used to listen. Yeah, it was wonderful. Well done, Gimli, for getting him on. But the only thing he ever did fucking do. Nick, save us.
Right, so I'm just going to go through on my app with basically it says all the injuries that not according to Arteta. Basically, we've got Royce is suspended, so he definitely won't play. It says Jesus late September, probably won't play. Tierney also says late September, but it says 2024. I'm going to assume they mean 2025.
Well, Rudy
or 2026.
Yeah, when his contract ends. But yeah,
Nick, Rudy says that Arteta said he's fit.
Okay, but Arteta says one thing and my app says another thing. I'm just saying what the app says. We'll find out in 2 days, don't worry.
We certainly will.
Yeah, Odegaard, it says early October. Marino, late October. Calafiori, it says days. Tomiyasu, late September. But the interesting one, which is, I never believe these anymore because I'm paranoid that everyone's lying. It says Solanke, definitely injured late September. Richarlison, definitely injured late September. and Basuma, where it says knock, very doubtful. But like I said, I never believe that. I expect all three of those players to start.
Or be at their funeral.
Well, I mean, if they're dead, I'm pretty sure they won't start. But I've been wrong in the past about this.
Didn't Postecoglou say that Van der Ven and Solanke were both available? I'm fairly certain he said that today.
Well, I took this screenshot at 2 p.m. Maybe I shouldn't have took this screenshot before the press conference. That could be my problem. I was well prepared, too prepared. But hey ho, but let's put injuries away because we'll have some more people to talk about injured next week. Raheem Sterling. So this is Arteta on Sterling. I knew straight away after 10 seconds that we had to bring him in because he really wanted it. After 10 seconds, I knew already before the next question that we had to bring him here. So obviously Arteta coached him quite a lot at City. So I suppose start with Melvyn. What do we do with Sterling? Does he start the weekend?
I'd start him. I think he's chomping at the bit. If that's correct, is the right expression. I think he's chomping at the bit.
I hope so. Rich?
Yeah, I'd have no qualms with starting him. I think he's a big game player. Look at his experience. Look at the teams he's played for. Look at the games he's played in and had impacts in. I'd have no qualms with starting Sterling. I think it's a smart acquisition, really, considering that Chelsea are paying 90% of his wages, and that if it goes well, great. If it doesn't, it's only a loan for a year, and we send him back, I guess. But yeah, I've got no qualms with Sterling. I think he'd a big game player.
I mean, Danny, obviously, I put on there, are you happy with the loan and should we make the move permanent?
Yes and yes. If we he's made... Well, first of all, if you went and get the best starting 11 from the Premier League over the last decade, he'd be in that starting 11 because he has been outstanding for Queen and country, for club and country. Overall, his goals, his assists, his abilities, he has... people have a short memory if they don't remember how much damage he has done to us every time he played for them. He was the star boy. He was the Bukayo Saka for England a decade ago. He's 29. He has still got it all. Even if he slows down a little bit, you move him infield, you can play him in the 10, whereas where he played a lot of the time at Man City, he plays left wing, right wing, central midfield, attacking midfield, play up front. You can play him anywhere and he will do it. He's still got the pace. He's not as quick as he used to be. There again, none of us are. It's a deal that we have to get done. That he's not going to want to stay at Chelsea. He's going to leave Chelsea. That's done for. I don't think he's just... I don't think he's going to go and play in the Saudi leagues. That's out of the window. Maybe he'd like MLS because personally I'd go and play there for the mighty Portland Timbers when I'm coming to the end of my career. He has still got another 3 seasons at least at the top level in the Premier League. It may be changing position slightly, maybe not all doing down the wings like he used to do. He's a decent player, but the only problem is 350 grand a week at Chelsea. We are not going to give him half of that money. But there again, he's probably going, I've made this money for the last 10 years. I don't need any more money. I want trophies. I want to prove a point to Man City who let me go. I want to give the middle finger to Chelsea because they're a joke of a club. And who else could he afford? He's a London boy. He grew up in the QPR area. He had a trial with Arsenal as a kid, and Arsenal wanted to sign him, but his mum said, don't go to Arsenal because there's loads of brilliant players there. Hopefully that was a real quote and someone hasn't made it up. So I am expecting a lot from him very soon, right away, immediately. Obviously he hates Spurs. Everybody hates Spurs. I'd like to see him come in the Odegaard role and grab the game by the scruff of the neck, get a goal, couple of assists, bish, bash, bob. Bob's your uncle. Is that too much to ask, Nick?
Oh, maybe. Because I looked at it. I never really liked him because, well, I say he's the enemy. He's like the opposition. And like I said, he's done a lot of damage to us over the years, like for Liverpool and then City. But it just seems like this last couple of years at City and Chelsea that he's just lost the fight. And I do feel sorry for him in a way because especially when he left Liverpool, and a lot of the ex-Liverpool and media, they've been slaughtering that guy for years in the media. They've been going after his personal life. They've been attacking him for England.
Yeah.
And it's just like they've really had a go at him. And it just seems like I thought when he joined Chelsea, oh, well, he's just given up on football now.
Yeah.
I think he's just literally become a mercenary. But then Arteta has seemed to just get something out of a lot of the players over the last few years that I didn't think he was going to get. Like Havertz, I thought he just was going to go back to Germany and cry because he hates England. He's got him playing well. A few other players he's brought in and just lit a fire. So I'm hoping he's got one last push, at football. But what do you think, Rich? Do you think he's going to go for it?
I think he kind of has to. I think the narrative, like I said, he's always feel like he's got something to prove, and the media and narrative always going against him. I think he's going to really, really want to prove a point, prove he can still hack it, to prove that he's still an asset, to prove that he's not ready to be shipped off to the knackers yard of the Saudi League or the MLS. And like I say, he's a big game player. He's got a great mentality. Like I said, I completely, when you said that thing about the amount of damage he's done to you, I would just say, if I had my camera on, you would have seen me nodding my head ferociously, because he has hurt us over the years. That's why that was one of the things where you kind of disliked him, because he would play well against us, kind of thing. But I genuinely hope, you always get your back up a little bit whenever you sign somebody from Chelsea, because of the dross back in the day of the Willian signing, and Gallas and stuff like that, and others that have come the other way from Chelsea, that kind of makes you wary and makes you instantly get your back up and gets you afraid. But look what Arteta has done with Havertz. Look at how much Arteta was praised by Sterling himself of the time when Arteta was coaching him at 115 FC charges. Look at the praise he was getting from that. So I really am positive about this sign. I think he can do something. I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong, and I think he's going to have a great season for us.
Do you think, Rich, I think physically he's fine. I don't think he's had stupid amount of injuries. Do you think this is a lot of it is in his head? And Arteta's
I don't even think it's so much that, because if you look at his kind of goal involvement, he had 18. I think it was eight goals and 10 assists last season in an absolute batshit mental Chelsea team last season. It's not like the guy just fell off the earth and became crap overnight or anything like that. But it's just because of the personality that he is. He doesn't really play ball with the media, kind of thing. He doesn't really, he's not. He does his own thing that he wants to do, and why shouldn't he? That and he is that easy target for the old Daily Mail readers and stuff like that. That he gets a lot more negative tropes thrown at him and a lot of negative action put on him than he actually is. Like I said, he wasn't that terrible for Chelsea in a Chelsea team who up to Christmas I was fingers crossed hoping they were going to get relegated. And then they finished in. Didn't they finish in the Europa? Is it Conference League that they're in? Yeah. They got a European place. So I don't think he's washed up at all, or even putting in bad performances. So that's why I'm really positive about it. I can't really see a downside of it. And as I said, let's just woe betide he does have an absolute stinker of a season. He goes back to Chelsea at the end of the season.
It does seem like a win-win. Yeah, it does seem like a win-win.
I think the best, I mean, the way I look at it, it's just like for like. Got rid of us the nasty way to put it with let Nelson go, and for the same money, literally, we've got Sterling. I think that's a great swap. That's not to the same team, but it's the same. It's a fantastic swap because Nelson, with all due respect, was never going to do anything. The odd goal here and there, he was never going to change your game. You know that when Sterling's on the ball, he might change the game, or he could change the game. You never had that feeling with Nelson.
True.
So, Danny, was there something you wanted to talk about? The thing you were talking about earlier?
Remind me, because I've been doing my fantasy football team. I put Saliba on the bench.
You said tell you something you want to talk about in a little while. No, you've forgotten. And I didn't know. No, so it couldn't have been very.
Oh, we were talking about the Spurs game, aren't we?
Yeah. All I've got left is lineup and predictions. So we go for lineups?
Yeah.
Could do.
So go on, then you give us your lineup then.
Same as the last game, apart from having to take Odegaard out. Against Brighton, we had Raya in goal, Timber left back, White right back, Saliba and Gabriel at centre back. I don't think there's much change for that. If it wasn't for the fact that Ricky Kelly had got injured, he might have come in for Timber. And then in Football Manager world, maybe Timber would have gone right back and White could have gone into defensive midfield. That's something people were talking about on the interwebs. Again, no one knows what we're on about. Central midfield is going to be, it's all about who's going to be playing the holding midfield position. I think it's easier if we just stick to what we did last time. Partey in the holding midfield bit, and then it's going to be someone to come in. The two people in front of him are going to be the real important bit. So who's that going to be? Well, sometimes you might think Zinchenko's going to come and play in the DM, but Arteta's never played him in the DM. My cat has decided to come and sit in front of the screen. Tom. That's a no, mate. Could you fuck off, please? Thank you. That's so Jorginho is definitely going to be one of those two, isn't it? Now the question is going to be: do we play Havertz in the Odegaard role, and then play Sterling in one of the front three roles? Trossard didn't go away with Belgium for the internationals at the last week, so that makes me wonder: has he got a knock, or is he just out of favour or something? So I think the most important thing, Partey in the holding midfield role, I'd have Havertz playing next to Jorginho, and then Trossard up front, Martinelli left wing, Saka right wing, and bring Sterling on if we need someone. But there's so many different possibilities there, and so many combinations of what you can do. It's almost impossible to tell. Normally, with Arteta, he's not going to take any risks. So that's why Zinchenko DM is out. But other than that, it's just really hard.
Melvyn, what do you think? I mean, I know you said earlier about you'd put maybe Saka in.
What I would do, not that it's going to happen, I would keep the defence the same, like Danny has. In midfield, I'd have Jorginho instead of Partey. I'd have Saka. And it's a shame the Italian got injured, because I'd have him in that role as well as a bit more protection. I think he'd be terrific in that role, and he can move forward with the ball. And up
what
front,
position? Left back?
No, in midfield. Left midfield.
Calafiori?
Yeah, Calafiori there, yeah. I think he can do a job. I think he can do it. He runs with the ball. He's got a good short pass. He's got a lovely long pass. He can go, he's 2-footed, go past people. That's what my midfield would be. And up front, there'd be Sterling, Havertz, and Martinelli. That would be my lineup. And I think it could be very interesting. Ain't going to happen, but
So where are you playing Saka in that?
I'm playing Saka in the number 10, next to Sterling. Listen, he's got, when he gets the ball, Saka, he's got really one way to go. I know he goes normally on the outside, but he normally cuts inside because he hasn't got much space on the outside. Obviously, he's right by the touchline, hugging the touchline. I think if he gets that little more space on both sides of the player, I can think he'd be so dangerous. And instead of just crossing the ball, giving through balls to the Sterlings and Havertz of this world, I think it'd be terrific. I really do.
Rich, I mean, I assume you're going to say, as everyone else, the exact same back four and goalkeeper. So, and also, what do you think? I mean, people are having meltdowns saying Jorginho could start or come in. Has he actually ever let us down since we've signed him?
Only against Spurs. Only against Spurs at home last season.
But Oh, maybe. Okay, it's one. Thanks for bringing up one game.
Just you asked the question.
Okay, apart from I asked it to Rich. Apart from the one.
What the Romans ever done for us, I know.
Hey, Rich, so what are you going for, mate?
Mate.
And this is the opinion to listen to because Rich actually works in football. So ignore what we've all said, and this will be what you should do.
That's a lot of pressure, though. So basically, I put that young kid that we got from Ajax in goal. No. Get Runnison back from his line. No. So yeah, the normal back four. Because what I would want to do, I would desperately try to keep as many pieces together because you've got to make so many changes. Changes. Try and keep as much of the continuity together. Because I mean, I did have a
spine of the team,
yeah, kind of thing. I there was a bit of me that I would have loved to, if Calafiori was around, have Calafiori as that left back and maybe move Timber a little bit forward alongside thingy. But with the injuries and that, so you've got that normal back four: Rice, Saliba, Gabriel, and Timber. Partey, like I said, in that six. I would, depending on the fitness worries, if Jesus was fit, I would have him up top and I would drop Havertz back into that Odegaard role and have Jorginho in the 8. You're going to have a great athlete in Timber backing him up as well, just in case Jorginho's legs fail him and he gets bypassed. I think allegedly Basuma is going to be missing for Spurs as well, which is another big bonus, a big bonus for us because I think he's physically very, very good. And then have, as much as Trossard has been fantastic, I think in the big open spaces of the toilet bowl and the fact that they play those ridiculous high lines with their fullbacks, I would trust Martinelli to have that space in behind, and I would try to keep that pairing of Saka and Ben White on that right hand side together, because again, who's their left back? Their right back is going to left back. Is going to go bomb forward. He's going to try to go forward, and again, that's exactly what they did last year as well. That allowed us to counter them and Saka to absolutely feast. So I that would be my initial thing that I would do if I had to. If Jesus wasn't kind of ready, I would leave Havertz up top because I agree with Melvyn. I think that's his best position for us. I think he's been a bit of a revelation since he's gone up top as a vocal point, as an outlet ball as well, as just a nuisance pressing from the front. And if I had to put somebody else in there, I would possibly go for his experience, and I would probably go for Sterling in that Odegaard role. Because again, I what I wouldn't want to do, because I don't think he's got as big a legs as he used to. I think the game might just drift and pass him by if he was to take Saka's place and Saka to switch over to be Odegaard. If I'm making sense of myself, does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No.
So that's. But I mean, I say there's some permutations there, but it's really. I know it's like I'm getting splinters on my arse, but it all depends on the fitness of key people and stuff like that. You know, is that big thing with Jesus? Yeah. But yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I would try and keep as many of the team in their positions as we could, rather than making too many wholesale changes all at once. Because I say it's all well and good making one change, like a big change of a person's position, but you're going to have to be doing 2 or 3. It's a bit like, like when we used to play in the Europa League, and we'd bring in like a whole host of the second string team in. and we're making loads of changes, and the connectivity's not there, and everything's just it goes out of sync. So I'll try and keep the core nucleus of that side together as much as I could.
Nick, Boy 10, a doom-monger, regular doom-monger, friend of the pod, says, I personally find it crazy that people still have faith in Gabriel. Do you have faith in Gabriel? Because I certainly don't.
Which one?
Oh, Jesus.
Zeus.
Yeah.
He's
He's just so injured all the time. I mean...
Even when he's not injured. I mean, this is his goal record. I did this, I don't know if people saw this last week. What is it? This is his goal record in the Premier League from the last 2 and a bit seasons. 7 Premier League goals. That's the same number that Haaland has in the first 3 games of the Premier League season. That is all you ever need to know about Jesus, Nick.
Wow.
It just seems like being at Man City for as long as he has, being a bit part player, saying your time will come, playing on the wings, coming on for 10 minutes air cups. He's just not as selfish as a striker probably should be. And we've got a few of them. I mean, Havertz, you could probably argue as well, he's not as selfish. It seems like they'd rather go for a pass than have a shot. Whereas, when, proper goal scorers, unless there's like 95% chance they can't get a shot on target, they ain't passing, if you see what I mean. It seems like that's just the modern-ish striker, that we expect them to do so much around it and more than just being a goal scorer that they've forgotten how to be a goal scorer. Like I say, I mean, I know we hate him and we haven't got to put up with him this Sunday, which is nice. Like Harry Kane, he doesn't do 10% of what, Jesus does around the pitch, his link-up playing, coming back into midfield, helping winning the ball, but he bangs the goals in. So he's got to be a little bit more selfish and stay up front a little bit more, because maybe why he keeps coming back and getting involved, that's why he keeps getting these little knocks and kicks. But I mean, I'd still start him on Sunday. I think it's going to be like the usual back four. I mean, I'd probably go Jorginho and Partey. I think he will put Havertz into midfield with Jesus up front. I think Trossard's going to start on the left and Saka on the right, and then like his usual 60, 70 minutes, once we're 4-0 up, obviously, he'll bring on Martinelli and Sterling. I don't know if he'd start Sterling. I don't know if that... Because was he not eligible to play after we signed him? Because we signed him after midnight or something. So he couldn't have played in that game anyway. I just don't know, especially if you play him instead of Trossard or a Martinelli or whoever, place he's going to take. I don't know if it sends the right message to bring him straight in. I think it'd bring him off the bench. But I'll tell him to just be a bit more greedy up front, and hopefully he can score more goals. But
after our performance and goal shooting against Brighton, I think someone does need to be brought in straight away and show them that bullshit finishing that they had between them cost us the game.
Do I have to say, should we shoot more? I mean, let's see if we're not gone back to that, are we?
That is could be what's left. Nick, there's the thing of the last 10 games against Spurs. We've beaten them once in the last 7. Are you shocked by that?
What, is that away or is it all of them?
Home and away. It's on the screen. They're all of them.
How can it be once in the foot? We've beaten twice in a row. Were you away right Hart Lane?
No.
Oh dear.
We lost 3-2 at their place last season. Drew 2-2 at home.
No, we didn't lose. We beat them 3-2 last season.
Well, this is according to. That's why I brought it up. I thought 1 win in 7. That doesn't sound very.
That is baggy trousers. That's madness, mate. That's not true. We beat them 3-2. Went 3-0 up and nearly threw it away. Don't you remember?
Yeah, we were 3-1 up or something.
3-0 up.
3-0 up. Cruising.
Raya gave away the ball to their centre half, and then they got a penalty.
Yeah, the weird back pass won it.
Anyway, whatever it was, we beat.
That's out of bullshit. Melvin's right. That's why I brought it up. Saying that's why it's
surprising.
It
didn't sound right. I thought we'd done well the last.
Hold on here. Here is the
actual one.
Yeah. Well, that was a subject I was going to go. Are you surprised that we've only won 1 in the last 7? Well, it's not.
I was very surprised. Yeah,
we've lost what? Do you think maybe they've got? I think they've got all the things back to front, haven't they?
Yeah,
because we've lost 1 in the last 7, not won 1.
Yeah.
You can't trust anybody these days. #fake news. Look at that nonsense. Nick, it's brilliant, isn't it? We've only lost 1 in the last 7.
I mean, you really put us all on a downer, and now you're back up again. Danny pills up and down.
Can't blame me. I didn't do it.
You probably did. But anyway, so if we're talking about scores and stuff, shall we go on to predictions and then questions? I mean, did anyone remember to ask for questions?
No.
Let me put the banner up so these lovely gooners can. Which one is it? It's not Sigh Out. It's not the new kit is shit. Although Ellis was right. Predictions time. No, where is it? There we go.
I mean, Phil just put some questions in. That's pretty much it.
We want some questions. It's Nick's first time at hosting. Make them good ones.
Yeah. Okay. So, Melvyn, what's your prediction for Sunday?
2-0 to us. 2-0.
Comfortable, edgy, or just go?
It's always edgy with Spurs. It's always edgy with Spurs. 2-0 edgy. I'll be on the edge of my seat anyway. Even if we're all over them and they've got 8 men left on the field, I'll still be edgy. Like that. 2-0.
Okay. Rich, how much is VAR going to piss us off on Sunday?
Yeah, probably loads. If anything, the last couple. Surely we've had enough of that, like enough bad luck, and it's gonna, it surely turn and go in our favour. Surely, but yeah, I would imagine loads. It's always nip and tuck, the North London derby. It's always tight game. You know, obviously a fractious game and stuff like that. There'll be challenges going about and all that sort of nonsense. Yeah, I can see VAR fucking us over again. You've made me upset, Nick. I was all happy a minute ago. Melvyn made me happy with the 2-0 scoreline, and now you brought up VAR and annoyed me.
Is it because VAR hasn't ruined all the games for internationals? You forgot it existed, and now you've remembered it. You're coming back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just remembering Rice's red card, and I'm getting angry again.
Oh, did you not say? Oh, do you want to talk about that while we wait for Phil Macker to type his question?
What about Rice's ridiculous red card? VAR, right? Going back to VAR, I would actually be a proponent of it, right? People talk about VAR like it's a sentient being. It's not. It's
living
run
entity.
by. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's not. VAR is what's made of it by the absolute dog shit PGMOL, which has been in absolute ruin of decades of decay and stagnation due to Mike Riley, who I still haven't forgiven for that 50th game. Yeah. Nobody can tell me that he wasn't absolutely bought out on that game. Nobody can convince me otherwise. And I was really hoping that Howard Webb would come in. All right, there was the jokes that he was, main Fergie's secret signing and all that sort of stuff. I was hoping that he could not revolutionise things, but make it a bit better, make the PGML better, up their standards, up their diversity. And when I say about diversity, having more than 2 refs that come from outside of the Greater Manchester area. But seemingly all he's really been cared about is doing his shows and getting ex-refs on TV shows to back up their weird decisions. Like, did you see? I don't know if you guys, sorry, going on a bit of tangent. Did you guys see that thing where they had Dermot Gallagher, who I recently found out he was the ref who didn't send off Dan Smith when he took off Diaby's ankle all those years ago at Sunderland. But they were reviewing the what's it called, and he basically just defended Chris Kavanagh's decision and all that sort of stuff. And then somebody's found, and I do. That's one thing I do love about like Twitter and social media. There's always receipts. Someone found a video of it. I think it was either the season before or something like that. The exact same thing happened at Forest. I think was it Forest and Leeds, where
With an
Henry
ex-Arsenal
Lansbury,
player. That's it.
yeah, Henry Lansbury absolutely does exactly what was it Veltman did to Rice. And Dermot Gallagher is on Sky Sports News the next day going, "Oh, he should have been given a red card." But then when it's he's trying to defend, he has to defend his mate. He's like, "Oh, well, he gave him no choice. He has to give him the yellow card." Personally, the whole of the PGMOL should have been brought to its knees and burned to its foundations and restarted again. Ever since who's that pillock who loves himself? Mike Dean. When Mike Dean made that admission that he didn't send his mate over to look at the VAR, even though that he knew he should, because he didn't want to put that on his mate.
Because he's been
When he made that admission, because he'd been having a bad day. When he made that admission, mate, the whole edifice should have been stripped down and every single one of them gone and started again. And that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. Like I said, VAR. I would love VAR to be better. I think most of the stuff that they do get, a lot of the stuff they get right. What they need, what I would say, I've been saying it for ages, what they need to do with VAR is keep the decisions under 90 seconds. If you're looking at a decision, either an offside or something like that, it takes more than 90 seconds to get to the bottom of it. It's not clear and obvious. You stick with the on-field decision. I also think the biggest thing that they need to do is mic up the refs, right? You can have it. You can, like they do it in rugby and stuff like that, where during the comms of the games, you can hear the referees. And I know, like some people like say about the match going public, and I do get that. It's not great. It's not great for them because they don't always know what's going on. But I remember at the rugby, you could buy these little things. They were called RefLink. It was like almost like a little radio kind of thing, and you were dialed in to the ref's microphone. You could hear exactly what was going on, because I think we need clarity on what is going on and how they're coming to these decisions.
Howard Webb said the technology just does not exist. We have to believe him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if it's come from old Howard, it must be gospel.
I mean, because we're all doing this in the same room, aren't we? We're not more than 10 feet apart. Yeah. No technology. I would have been a great proponent of it, but I think it's been horribly managed, and I would have thought that Howard Webb would have got a handle on it and made significant changes by now, because he's been in the job long enough. I get that he had a decade of absolute crap to take over from Mike Riley, but he should have been able to have made adequate changes. Like again, so I'm going on these tangents. You see the automated offsides. Is that still to come in?
I saw that. They've given the go ahead for the next to use it in the next World Cup, and a lot of the other countries have said.
But no, what I mean is
within like 2 seconds or a second, they can tell if someone's offside or not.
But aren't they bringing it in this season? At some point in the season, they're going to go live with it.
Yeah, in internationals.
No, I think it's going to be in for the Premiership, isn't it?
No, they won't have none of that. Like that. I mean, let's be honest about it. We're not having a go at cameras, because this is what VAR is. It's video cameras. It's the people. The argument they've had for years why they didn't want to use it is because they don't want to re-referee games. And that's exactly what they've been doing. They're re-refereeing games to get what they want. I mean, like the Rice thing, I knew he was getting sent off like at the start of the second half, because I saw the ref and him had words when he booked him in the first half. So basically any excuse, he wanted to send him off. That's the only reason he gave right for that second yellow card, because he wanted to. The same as when Martinelli got 2 in a minute. And and this is what I always say, like, if your argument starts with, well, by the letter of the law, your opinion means nothing. Because if that's how you start, it's crap. I can't. No, we've saw it all that time where, what was it? People were picking up the ball, throwing it overheads, kicking it 30, 40 yards, and no one's. I don't know if it's true because obviously online, we found out today people put misleading stats online, don't they, Danny? But I heard that the last time someone got booked for kicking the ball away was 4.5 seasons ago.
You know something? When they say, Nick, I hate talking about this. I've spoken about it too much. It's been on my brain since that game too much, the Brighton game. But if they say by the letter of the law, then you can turn around to them and say, all right, on that basis, it should be reffed by robots. Get robots on. Then we can't have any arguments.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's going to be a very fine line between AI taking over the whole of refereeing in the Premier League and AI using humans as fuel. There's going to be about a month's gap. We're going to go, finally, we got someone reffing games for in the mincer. Fuck.
Oh, great. We're replacing VAR with Skynet. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't be more biased, could they? Well, again, have we got any automatons as Arsenal players? I mean, Ronaldo would be the leader because he's obviously not human.
Yeah. Rich, by the way, did you actually make a prediction after making the prediction? I don't think you did.
No, I just went on a foul mouth rant, didn't I? Yeah. I'm gonna go for a Desmond. Oh. I'm going for a 2-2. Yeah. I'm gonna go for a 2-2 draw. Because I'm miserable.
Oh. Danny, go for a prediction.
I'm going to go for a Desmond Walker, a 2-1 Arsenal.
How do you think it's going to go? Like cagey, like everyone seems to
think? They're going to get an early penalty, like they always do, because they're scum. And then their fans are going to go, let's see, we're going to win the league. Ooh! And then maybe we'll score for half time. And then we will absolutely batter them second half, have goals disallowed, players injured, players stretched off. And then it's going to be a masterclass from... why do we keep wanting to call him Guy? Guy Havertz. He's gonna do some Havertz magic, and he's gonna win us the game 2-1. So there you go. What are you picking, Nick?
I'm gonna go a comfortable 3-1. I think we're gonna go 3-0 up. Everything's peachy. They're gonna get their customary penalty, and all the TVs are going, oh, is this start of a comeback? No, that's it. You're one shot on target. The whole game is a penalty. But obviously, they're going to get very kicky.
The only thing I'm worried about, if we actually win 3-1, will it be reported that we get beat 3-1? That's the only thing I'm worried about.
More than likely. Hope Danny's taking that website off of his bookmarks for next week.
Which one?
The one that said that reversed all the scores, so we lost every game instead of won every game.
It's all automated, isn't it? It's easily done. That would have been a whole interesting point. Are we going to turn that around? We have turned it around.
Yeah, we could have talked about that for 20 minutes. Instead, Melvyn talked about it for 2 seconds and said it was wrong.
Yeah,
so
get that shit off. It's bullshit. Job done. Yeah, I've got some questions for you. I can take that banner off now. Some people have asked some questions, Nick. Is it questions time?
Yep, you asked the questions. That was the rule.
Well, Boy 10 said, what questions should we ask the panel?
That's a good question.
Football, that would be helpful. Arsenal related.
Okay, we'll move on from that. Then he follows that up with Nick. Does Arteta have to win a trophy this season to minimise the risk of players like Saliba wanting out?
Not really, because that's a bit of a stupid point. Not stupid point for Boy 10 said it, but if we win stuff, they'll say, well, he's won the league here. He wants to leave and go elsewhere to win. If he doesn't win, they'll say, well, he wants to go and win stuff. So it's a bit of like, what's that, a double-edged sword or whatever you call it. So I don't think it's but I mean, we'll find out on Monday, which will probably drag on because Man City are starting their court case. We'll find out if they get docked points or whatever, which I doubt, but I wouldn't say this season, but if we drop out of the top 4, then I think that could really, unless it's a car crash of injuries and stuff, I think we'll be all right. But I think next season, if we don't win it and we finish second 3 years in a row, I think people are going to get sick of it.
Right, next question. We've got one each. One from Des. Hello, Des. I know what you're doing, Des. You're a very naughty boy. For Melvyn, why was Odegaard allowed to go on international duty when he was injured the previous weekend? Will they ever learn?
I don't think we will. This has been going on for so long. You saw the other teams pulling people out. I think City pulled out a couple of players. Liverpool, one guy got pulled out. He had a bone in his foot. So I don't think that we'll ever learn. It's in our DNA. We've got a. I don't think we'll ever learn. No, the answer's no.
Melvyn, why do they always take other teams' word as gospel? Yet with us, they always say, "Okay, we'll send him over, and our doctor will assess him."
Exactly.
Why do they always seem to do that for us, but other people? I mean, I know it's gone back to, but how many times did we see United and Liverpool? All their players play the full 90 minutes, and then they'd say, "Oh, they got injured in the warm down." I was like, "Really?" And then, would you look at that? The first game back after international, they're starting.
They don't even make it for 90 minutes, Nick. They don't even turn up. They've had a couple of Liverpool and United players. They didn't even turn up.
Stat which probably come from Danny's website that Ryan Giggs played every proper game for Wales, but missed every friendly for his entire 20-year career.
Ryan Giggs played for 20 years. He got 63 caps. For Wales, that just shows you the level of pullout that they had.
Anybody buying Football Manager 25 when it comes out? No international management on it.
It's been delayed, isn't it?
Yeah, delayed. I'm still playing. I mean, I gave up playing 23. Right, let's another question. One for you, Rich. Someone wanted to know why was that tapping noise? Were you breakdancing? He's going pop, 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 pop.
Me?
You. Yeah, you've done it twice.
Apologies. I'm updating team sheets for tomorrow on my laptop whilst I'm doing this.
There we
Apologies.
go.
I thought I'd muted my thing. Apologies, everyone.
That's okay. Patrick Carlson in lovely Sweden. Sean went there recently and liked it. Too expensive, but she liked it. And no shops open on a Sunday. Freaked her out. That's what it should be in this country as well, like it used to be, Melvyn? No shops open on a Sunday.
That's right. I remember that. I think the only thing was open on a Sunday, I remember, was J Lyons Corner House.
Oh, and garden centres.
Oh, I don't remember that. No, I don't remember garden centres.
Well, have you got garden centres where you live? We're surrounded by them here.
No.
Well, when Nick eventually comes over, I'm going to take him to a garden centre. Let you lick all the Venus flytraps. Anyway, Rich, Patrick asks, why does City play on a Wednesday and Arsenal on a Thursday when we are going to Italy?
Money. Because Amazon have stumped up a load of money for the Champions League, right? They've expanded the Champions League to put more teams in it to mimic the Super League. And they want to televise more games. So rather than everyone just playing on a Tuesday and Wednesday, they've now pushed it out to Thursday. It's money is the short answer.
Yeah, it's just we're going to look back at in 20 years' time. We're going to look back at this era and go, can't believe the amount of money that used to be made. Now our star players on 500 quid a week and season tickets are free. We're going to look back at this bubble. And when it bursts, people, stand back. It's going to be like a Wellington full of custard. It's going to be messy. There's been another question from Phil. For you, Melvyn. Was Melvyn a player with the ladies back in the day? I mean, you look like you're smooth and sophisticated. I bet you had an Opal Manta back in the day or something like that, didn't you?
I could really, I was really good at pulling birds as they go. Very good. That was over the phone. Once they saw me, it was all over, mate.
Story of my life. They think I've got a very lovely voice, and then they see me, and they're running for the hills, sadly. Right, let's give a proper question to Nick from BX Gunner. How many goals for Sterling? You can all answer this. How many goals for Sterling, and will his goals prove to be vital to any success this season? So go Nick, Melvyn, Richard on that question.
Well, if he's going to play a lot, this is double figures, at least 10 this season. in the Premiership, maybe 15 in all competition. I mean, Arteta knows how to, he's managed him or coached him before, and he's been in the league for 10 years at least? Has he been in? Because he was a teenager when he was at Liverpool. So, yeah, double figures in the Premiership, 15 in all competitions.
Sterling, he's 29. He made his debut for Liverpool after signing from QPR about 17. So he's 12 years he's been playing in the Premier League. Melvyn, what are you going to go for?
I think he'll play. I think he'll score about a dozen goals in all competitions, and I think one or two of them will be very important. Yes, because he does score goals in big games. So I think the answer is yes and 12.
Yeah, he's a match winner as well. We haven't got
exactly
many of them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Rich, hit with some deets.
Yes. I'm going to go for. I think he's going to. 18 goal involvements throughout the season. I'm going to go 10 goals, 8 and 8 assists.
I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to go 20 goal contributions this season. I expect a lot from him because for me, he was a world-class player and he still has what it needs. He just needs the right manager. He needs to be Kai Havertz, is the gist of it, Nick. So that's all the questions done. Thank you very much, everybody. For those of you that could be bothered, I mean, there's 26 of you watching and 4 of you ask questions. Some of you need to go in the back garden, have a sit down and have a word with yourself. We're not doing this for the fun of it, but we are actually. Nick?
Right.
Yeah, so obviously cheers, Melvyn, Rich and Danny. Thank you very much for getting off the toilet long enough to hit record. That's much appreciated.
It was touch and go. I didn't have my T-shirt on until 3 minutes before the show started. I just had 3 slices of Edam and a can of Monster. That is a diet of champions.
That is a diet of champions. Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. I know if you're listen later, go to the YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, because Danny's upset we've been on 7,500 subscribers for about 20 years.
We had one last month.
Yeah, that was me. I unsubscribed by mistake and then resubscribed. So
I didn't even resubscribe.
Cheers everyone. And we will not be doing a show after the game, so we should be back at some point next week when Danny can blackmail us to do a show.
So what day next week are we playing the game, Nick?
Thursday.
Richard, stop making noise. We're playing Atlanta on the 19th, which is a Thursday. So hopefully we'll be about 8:30 next Wednesday, Nick, is what you were looking for.
Yeah, that's what I said, Wednesday, probably. Danny, turn it off because I've done too well and I'm about to dribble for the rest of the night.
Now, would you like the Anfield 89 outro or the Stephen Dave outro, Nick?
Oh, Stephen Dave always.
Okay. Right, end the show by saying something wise yet insightful.
Up the Arsenal.
As soon as I scored that goal, I was fucking livid. Get down, dog. Splendid business.
He nearly caught the bloody thing. What are you talking about?
So I've just eaten a full quiche. Well, you don't often see them at it. So when you see them in the supermarket, they need to be swagged, microwaved immediately and get the brown sauce on and bosh, Bob's your uncle.
Never in doubt.